Hello and good afternoon. It is almost 3 o'clock and the winds are starting to pick up. It looks like, according to my weather app, I'm still under a heat advisory until 8 p.m., but we're also under a thunderstorm advisory. Excuse me. A strong or severe thunderstorm warning. Today's been a nice day. It's been a little bit busy. I had to run to St. James for a interview for McDonald's. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about something that's going on. Jerry, Ann, and I have been talking. And even though I am looking for alternative work, not because I don't want to go back to college, but it's kind of like one of those, I would rather have a steady job year round instead of relying on unemployment during Christmas break and summer break. That's just because I am not a big fan of collecting unemployment. But as Jan said to me, it's not that you're collecting unemployment because of the fact that you don't want to look for a job. You're collecting unemployment because you're temporarily laid off during holidays and summertime. So you're actually collecting money that you're due because that's part of the agreement with the college. So I'm kind of like, yeah, it'd be easier to just collect that unemployment during the winter break and summer break because I enjoy working at the college. I get along with my supervisors. I've had no problems with my job. They understand what's going on with my life and they work with me. It's not like, okay, you get employed by somebody else and you have to literally learn about a new crew, break yourself into a routine. The fact that like McDonald's is 24/7, that if I get a job that has 24/7 service, I could be getting off work at 10 p.m. but have to, they asked me to come back at like 5 o'clock in the morning to do morning services. That's not really good for me because that means I have to come home, literally go to sleep ASAP now, and then wake up at, within like 4-5 hours at the most to get up, get dressed, and go drive all the way back to St. James. It's not like I live in St. James. So what I'm doing right now, as I explained to Jerry, is I like to get my ducks in a row. I like to see what they offer and see if I can make sure I lock in a job. I already told them at the interview today that there are going to be periods or days that I have to have off to take my wife to her medical appointments, which is not true because God forbid I have to work when she has to go to a doctor's appointment. I can't get them to let me have that day off without penalties. I don't know how well mom will be able to drive her because she'll need her walker in the wheelchair because right now the doctors, the physical therapist that was here yesterday was like, oh, great, you're doing great. You've got great leg strength. You got great stamina. You look like you're ready to just walk all over the world. But at this point in time, she's like, go ahead and use your walker for the most for most things around the house. But for the things that you're going to have to be either standing or walking long distances, like her doctor's office, shopping, anything like that, they would rather her still have the wheelchair on hand for her to do those things. Which I'm kind of like, okay, we've been kind of doing that the last 2-3 weeks. Because the doctors in St. Louis said, go ahead and start building up your legs. But they didn't want to take her off the wheelchair until the physical therapist evaluated her and came in, 10 different times for physical therapy just to make sure that she's strengthening the core muscles, which is what the doctors want her to work on. So it's not like she couldn't walk in the first place as far back as April. It's just we were following the doctor's orders. Simple as that. Yes, I have a Mountain Dew today. So it's one of those kind of things where we're trying to do what the doctors tell us to do, yet we're also trying to get her to walk around the house just so she can build up that stamina. Yesterday's evaluation went very well, I think. She did. She showed the therapist that she can walk into the kitchen, maybe even all the way to the back door and back. But the therapist was like, no, you can turn around right here in the middle of the kitchen, where we have a big open area. And then I went in there another time to drop off some mail, and the therapist was having her do as many in position marching steps as she could within a certain period of time. And she, according to what I heard from the therapist, is she actually excelled further than what the therapist thought she was going to be able to do. So she's got her leg muscles. It's the core muscles to strengthen her back, is what they want her to work on. So, I'm happy with everything. But I think she still has not a long ways to go, but she still has, she still has to build up those core muscles, and, get the go ahead from the doctors to stop using the brace. And that's the last thing that needs to happen, is that brace needs to go bye-byes, and then she can walk all over Kingdom Come. Because right now, the only thing the brace is doing besides preventing her from bending forward is being comfortable. Because when she's sitting, it digs into her armpits. When she's sitting, it digs into her hip. Yep, I hear thunder. By the way, she's doing good. So I'm happy with that progress. I really, really am happy with her progress. But I'm sorry, I jumped off of what I was talking about. Let's jump back to what I was talking about. As for the job search goes, after sitting down with Jenny Ann, we both kind of agreed to just do what we have to do until I start back to work. One of the things about, and I have to talk to somebody when I get, when I'm back to work, about this whole unemployment thing, because I think I goofed up just a little bit on the unemployment people side. But what I gathered is I won't earn as much as I should be through unemployment until I've been working at my job for at least 2 years. So this is going to be the beginning of my job, or beginning of the second year, I should say, of working at the college. And I'm happy because, it's like I said, I get along with everybody. I have no problems at work. The only problems I have is something that we can't change because of the way certain things were done when they first established the exterior food location. But I was told back in the fall, back in the spring, not fall, that hopefully by the time we start back up this year, the outside food service that I was working at will be on the inside, and things will be changed because they're expanding their buildings. They're basically making, their areas bigger. So I'm like, that would be great, because then I won't be outside, stifling in the heat. Because I was wearing long sleeve shirts in the wintertime and still felt a little too, not like overheated, but I was still like, I don't need to turn the heater on. I just turn that whole unit off and let the machinery keep me warm. But the heat had to be on a certain temperature overnight so nothing would freeze, which made me go, so this building is not very well insulated. But I can't wait to go back. I really can't. I ran into one of my supervisors not too long ago when I was going to pick up medication for my wife at our pharmacy, and he was in there getting some stuff. And I was like, hey, long time no see. How you doing? He's like, I'm doing great. I hope to see you on the 11th. And I'm like, oh, I'll be there. That's actually getting closer. My radar says it was still a ways away. Shows you that the radar around here doesn't work that great. Only two things I don't want to hear is a thunderclap really close to my house, or the tornado sirens going off. Because I was getting ready to leave this morning to go to St. James, and I'm hearing my music was on, so I'm hearing noise, background noises. Like, that's not part of the song, and I had to turn my radio off, and I went, "Ha, yeah, that's right. Today's Wednesday, the first Wednesday of the month. They're testing their sirens out." And I'm just like, we're in a dry heat. We're in a heat advisory, so I don't think we're gonna have to worry about tornadoes. And then I get home and I'm getting like severe thunderstorm warning, and I'm like, really? In this weather, this dry heat? I don't think. I hope not. But can't. You never can tell. You got to learn how to ride that wave. You got the powers that be, nature, the universe, whatever you want to call it. You might look outside and go, "Oh, it's going to be a nice day." Oh, wait a minute. Temperature for outside is really warm, and we're under a heat advisory. We're not going to have any storms. And then Mother Nature goes, "Oh, guess what? You're going to have severe thunderstorms plus heat advisory." That's not a good mix. That's not a good mix. That's a good way to start a fire, because everything's dry. And it's not desert dry, but still, it's not like Georgia humidity either. So, I've been to Georgia. Their humidity is like stepping out into a sauna. It's like, poof. I didn't know I needed to take a shower. I mean, I feel like I just walked out of the shower. That's how Georgia humidity is. And anybody who's ever been to like Atlanta or what's the nearest town that I can remember that when we went to visit Georgia, Moultrie. I think it was called Moultrie or Mul something. Sounded like Moultrie or Mulberry. I don't remember the two names. But it was where our friend Lisa's family live, I think. Yeah, well, the one sister. But yeah, it's been a good day. I wanted to get that out of the way because I don't want to be drinking while I'm doing the fun stuff. Fun stuff. We're going to get back into this real quick. Last time I remember reading anything out of here, we were talking about the kingdoms and the building blocks of the kingdoms of the Nordic or Scandinavian territories. Scandinavia was basically 3 different countries: Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Now, Finland, which was not considered a Scandinavian nation, but it was part of the Nordic nations, just like Iceland. And some people get confused of Scandinavia being an actual country. Like, I've done that, sorry. Maybe I'm just talking about myself. But every time I heard, Scandinavia, I was like, where's Scandinavia? I can't find it on the map. Scandinavia is not an individual country. It's made up of 3 different countries. I said, ow. I just bit my cheek. Ouch. Let's see. And I'm going to read Norway. I don't know if I've read it yet or if I've gotten into this part yet. So if it sounds like, or if you have this book on hand and it looks like I skipped over an area, just, give me a friendly, "Hey, Jim, you missed the part. You missed the beginning of this chapter or this part." But we'll see what happens. Norway. We learn the bloody history of Viking Norway mostly from the Norwegians themselves. Through Skaldic poems and sagas of the kings, the first king to lay claim to a ununified Norway was Harald Finehair, circa 880. but his power only reached southern Norway and the fjords along the western coast. Several chieftains who were turned off by centralized power left for Iceland around this time. Harald's son, Eric Redax, took over after his death around 930, but was kicked out of power for living up to his name and ruling too harshly. The name alone, Blood Axe, I'm sorry. I mean, you have a name like that, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if we would want you in rulership over Norway. If your idea of, control is basically live or die, nah, I'm sorry. After decades of back and forth between competing Danes and Norwegians, including Harold Bluetooth, see below, and Sven Forkbeard, Olaf Hardalson, hopefully I'm saying that properly, returned to, okay, that's a different sentence. It looked like a comma there. I'm not going to say the name again because I can't pronounce it properly. Olaf returned to Norway in 1015, fresh off the boat from many years of Viking expeditions. Now, Viking expeditions could be anything from sacking a village to exploring the coastlines of Europe, all the way down into the Mediterranean. Olaf quickly became king over most of Norway. He imposed Christianity on the country by force, a decision that proved fatal at the time but ensured his everlasting good reputation. Olaf lost control of the north, and Kunt the Great took over. As soon as Kunt's hold weakened, Olaf roared back only to lose the Battle of Stiklestad. No, not Stick, it's just Stiklestad, near Torndenham. Okay, I know that town. That's actually northern Norway. It's a coastal town. Today it's more of a tourist attraction / fishing village. Shortly afterward, Norwegian Christians came to revere him as a saint, and he remains the patron saint of Norway to this day. So we're talking about Olaf. Okay. I'm going to stop there because then it would be Sweden. Now, if you followed along, sorry if you had a trouble following along because of my difficulty with names and whatnot. This Olaf character, who became the patron saint of Norway, when he first took over, he was literally imposing, forcing his countrymen to choose between Christianity or who knows what his choice punishment was for these people who did not want to be Christians. This is also the time where things were starting to go from a bloody battle between other nations or raids or anything like that. And, well, maybe it was just that time in history that Christianity was meant to be up there. I've said it before, and I usually don't speak out against Christianity for the most part. I do have some minor issues with modern day Christianity, but back then, most of those who were Christian and trying to help convert the world either had the heart of Jesus, which basically not forcing people to choose but trying to guide people in the reason or the rhyme or why it would be better to choose Christianity over the old school paganism. Now, I like the idea of saying, hey, you're not a Christian? Okay. Let me tell you about God. Let me tell you about what is in store for us after we die. Well, part of that problem is, one, I'm not a very good speaker. I have my versions or my ideas about Christendom. A lot of it is Bible based, but like most people, that's not good. We might have a brownout soon, which means dinner might not be dinner. Sorry. One, I get easily distracted, as you can tell. Easily, squirrel. I don't, for one, I don't believe that we should be forcing conversion on anybody. And there's still a lot of religions out there that I would be like, yeah, they need Christian, or they need Christ, they need Christ. There's still religions out there that are just kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I like the idea of how your religion goes. For one, I'm just going to pull one out of my hat. Buddhism. I heard a story that just horrified me about Buddhism. And it was a story about a Thai girl. Basically, this is in Thailand, I think this came out of. This is one young lady in Thailand who was a native to Thailand, was trying to assist a American visiting couple in purchases. Basically, she was trying to translate English to Thai. I'm all for that. That right there, she was living like Christ would have lived, helping out those who needed help, no matter what it was. And I strongly believe in it. I strongly believe that we should be helping each other out, no matter what the situation is, because that's what Christ would want us to do. The one thing that horrified me with the story was, the thing is, this young lady was not. She was native Thai, but she was a hired tour guide. This wasn't somebody who was just from the village. This was a young lady who dressed like a Thai, dressed like those from Thailand. I don't want to say the wrong word because Thai might be the wrong phrase. But she was doing what she was hired to do. Now, this group of Buddhist monks who walk through the village daily, saw her doing this. Did not know her position, did not know nothing about this young lady. Don't know if there was any words transpired or anything like that, but the Buddhist priest began to cane her to death. In other words, beat her to death. And this young couple who tried to help her were injured in the scuffle. But unfortunately, the young Thai girl was not so fortunate. She did not die, but she was severely injured through the shoulders and head. Now, I do not like the violence of other religions, especially Buddhists. I understand their religion, I understand their beliefs, but they're the one religion that I can say has not changed for the times. And I'm all for hanging on to tradition, but the whole idea of holding on to tradition to the point where you're willing to beat another person of your nationality to death for doing their job. Yeah. And you'll wonder why so many people from that part of the country that part of the world wants to leave their country because of the Buddhist practice. Thailand is also one of those countries that, let's just say, missionaries have had trouble trying to fully convert people to Christendom, which I can kind of understand, but at the same time, I kind of don't, because, oh, that's right overhead. Because for the amount of time that the Buddhist religion has been in that part of the world, it is very difficult to get people to understand that let the Buddhists beat you. Let them come after you because you decided to shun the ways of the Buddhist monks and become a Christian. And speak out against the violence and the beatings. You know, most saints either became saints because they were martyred, or they did something extraordinarily important for that nation, like Allah. The issue with religion, we're not going to talk about spirituality because it's a totally different ball of wax. A lot of people say no, but hear me out. Christians as a whole try to live their lives like Jesus, like they were taught through the Bible. The problem with modern day Christendom, or Christians, is the telephone game. Okay? I don't see why there's a problem, because it's all written down in black and white. Yet why is it it's more Christians than any other religion that I know about say they live like, you know, Christian, like Christ wanted us to live, yet they turn around and behind your back they belittle you, curse you, make fun of you, gossip about you, all the things that Jesus basically speaks against. Says, no, these are things that we do not do as Christians. It's not our place. It's not our place to judge each other. It's a no-no, according to the Bible, to gossip. There are some people who gossip more than others, and, you know, those people who gossip more than your average person, yeah, but those are also the same people who want to take the Bible, stick it under your nose, and claim that you're doing worse than they are because you're not following the Bible to the letter. Hypocrite much? But that's their choice. We all are given by God the choice to do as we choose. As long as we're not doing harm to others, I don't know if he has a problem with that. I personally don't think gossip would be acceptable. I don't think gossiping is right in the first place. Oh, it might make you feel good, and it might make you feel empowered because of the fact that you're putting somebody down behind their back, or you're spreading rumors, whether they're true or not, behind their backs. That's not our choice. That's not a right that we have, because that's one of the rights that God said no. It says it in the Bible. It's all over the New Testament. Yet, like I said in one of my other videos, you look at some of the other religions, some of the religions that most people won't even look at because of the fact that in their eyes it's wrong. Yet, if paganism of any form is wrong, why is it pagans treat each other with more dignity and respect than Christians? Yeah. You get a group of pagans or a Nordic clan together, people who think about the same things, live about the same, almost the same way, and believe in the same things that were taught at the Havanal. You go up against one member of that clan, and the whole clan will get involved. Yet, as Christians, when somebody starts going after them or their family, most Christians kind of go, "Yep, it ain't about me. I'm not involved. I'm just going to go the other direction." That's not Christendom. That's not Christianity. That's not what Jesus would want. No. Jesus would want other Christians to help defend their brother or sister in Christ to the best of their ability and not expect a single thing in return, just like the Norsemen, just like the pagans I know about. So who's in the right? The Christian who doesn't want to, I mean, look at America. America is literally a melting pot of various religions and cultures. Okay. Granted, Christianity is one of the larger religions in the country, even though there is a very large movement away from Christianity because of the way Christians are here in America. I've seen more Christians turning against their fellow Christian just because they don't like the way they look. They don't like the way they go to church, the way they dress for church. Yet Jesus literally said, "Come as you are." So it's like, I forgot the name of the song and the group that sang it. I don't know if it was Third Day or DC Talk. They talked about, no, it was Stephen Curtis Chapman, I do believe, and I can't remember the name of the song. But in the song, he talks about a gentleman walking into a church, just everyday looking guy, or maybe even worse than an everyday looking guy, and people giving this person the stink eye because he's not formally dressed. He's dressed in street clothes. He's looking for a place to stay for a little while because he's basically out on his own carrying his life in a bag. That's what most Christians do nowadays. "Oh, you're coming into my church looking like that? How dare you?" That's not what Christ wanted us to do. Christ wanted to be like, "Oh, come here. Come up here, brother. What do you need? What's your problem? What brings you here today?" Not giving him the stink eye. We're supposed to take that gentleman and lift him up and give him shelter, food, clothing. I don't know how often I've driven by a street corner and saw somebody who was basically living off the streets looking for a simple handout so they can feed themselves. And I'm like, "Oh, man, this is why I want small bills or cash on me." So, I mean, we don't know what he's wanting the money for, but the thing is, especially this one gentleman I've seen a lot here in town on a corner by Walmart, and not the main street corner, one of the back corners that doesn't get a lot of traffic. It's got a sign: "Retired veteran, need assistance." How many times I wish I had a $20 bill and say, here's 20, go get you something to eat, whatever, use it for whatever you need. I don't know what this guy is going to use it for. I don't even know if he's a real veteran or not. But the thing is, most veterans hate the idea of looking for handouts. The only reason why if he is a veteran, sitting on that corner, looking for a little bit of assistance is because we are so backwards. If this is a truly Christian nation, what our forefathers wanted this to be, a Christian nation, we're supposed to be under God. Do you remember when we were growing up as kids before they took the national anthem out of schools? One nation under God. What happened to that? Oh, I see. I remember what happened to it. Atheists back in the 70s got offended and started this whole process of changing the way this nation is supposed to be because she did not believe in God. Her son grew up to be a Christian minister. Yeah. Then we have the other religions. I want to talk to you about a different country real quick. And I know a lot of people are going to go, well, that's not American. We're supposed to be the land of three. You know, give us your sick, give us your poor. We didn't care where you came from. That was great all in the beginning before the 1900s, let alone the 20th century. Australia, who I consider a sister country because they were also started basically by the British Empire, and basically the British Empire took their unwanted, their prisoners of war or whatnot, and dumped them off and tried to dump them off in Australia. Australia was originally supposed to be a prison colony. But if you look at the history of Australia, you know exactly what happened. But here's the thing is, today, 20th century, Australia is simple. And I'll tell you why they're simple. They have a policy. You want to be an Australian citizen, you want to come to Australia and live in Australia, one, you have to speak the Queen's English or English. Two, we're not going to bend over backwards to, have things in your national language or whatever language you came from. We're not going to set it up so you can have what you want. Basically, Australia said, if you want to be a citizen, you have to be an Australian citizen. You have to be able to speak our language, understand everything, and nothing's going to change. You have to be a certain way to be an Australian. Great. That way they don't have a mix-up with, religious issues or linguistics issues or any of that kind of stuff. Now, it might sound harsh to some people because then it's like, you're really not very inviting. No. They don't want to have problems like so many other countries around them have with black market, just all the negative things that happens around the world. They're very serious about keeping that shit out of their country. Serious. Okay. Does anybody remember the old TV show that used to be on? It was like a docudrama, daily episodes on Animal Planet, Whale Wars, where this guy and his crew of people would literally go into the open oceans between Tasmania and the Arctic Circle, where there was a lot of migrating whale pods and whatnot. And these guys would do anything and everything to either stop them from poaching or hunting the whales, which was actually considered illegal. But because of certain rules and regulations and laws in Japan that they thought it was okay, that they could do it wherever. And they were finding chemical bombs that they could throw at these whaling ships to contaminate the whale meat on these ships. And they had a big old court hubbubaloo and whatnot. And Australia went, we don't see a problem. And because they were based in Australia, the Japanese wanted to cause all kinds of ruckus and whatnot, and the Australians basically are like, okay, you can go do whatever you want because you're in open waters. We have no control over you. But because of all the pressure we're getting from Japan or those different countries in that area that still do whale hunting, we can't let you come to our harbors. You're no longer welcome in our harbors. But the last thing I heard about them before I stopped watching the show, because it just became the same stuff over and over, just different people, different events. That somewhere in Tasmania, the Tasmanian government went, you can park your boat right here, get fueled up and get your supplies and whatnot and go back out and do your thing. We're going to turn a blind eye to it because you're doing the planet a service. So it was like, cool. I don't know if they're still doing it or not, because like I said, I lost, connection with that show. But here's the thing. I said it before. I'll say it again. We were placed on the planet by God as stewards of this planet. I, simple human being, trying to think like an owner or somebody who should be a steward. What is the definition of a steward? A steward is basically somebody or a group of people, humanity, are supposed to be caretakers and watchers and keep the planet safe from harm. Keep nature safe from harm. I don't see that happening. There's maybe a handful of people who literally, go out of their way to do exactly what God wants us to do. And that is to basically protect the wildlife, protect the planet, do whatever we can to live in harmony of our world and to take care of it. Not go out and strip mine an area that has ore that we use for today's technology. Not to go out and literally clear cut a whole countryside of its old growth trees to accommodate for farms or the wood for homes and houses. No. I personally don't think we should have entered into the industrial era. I think we should have stayed in the Victorian era or the 13th century or even the Nordic era. I don't think we should have been, I really don't think we should have been living the way we do nowadays. I really don't. If we are to be stewards, we need to live in harmony, not with just the world around us, but our fellow man, our fellow human being. People don't want to do that no more. People want to live their lives the way they want to, no matter what it is, whether it's gossiping, lying, cheating, destroying the planet, whatever. They want what they want. I'm guilty of that. But my guilt is I want books. I have literally more than I really should have. That's the wins. Anyhow, basically my point is look around. Look around at what you have. Be content with what you have. I know that's a hard thing to say even for me, because there are times where I'm not content with what I have. Look around the world. Let's not even go to a world view. Look around your town, look around your neighborhood, look around your house. See what you have. There are plenty of people out there that do not have the same things you have. But the thing is, like I told Jerry, one of the reasons why I want to purge is because we have more than we need. There are people out there who could probably use some of the things that we're trying to get rid of. A lot of her old clothes, a lot of my old clothes, utensils and whatnot, and gadgets and whatnot from the kitchen. Some of my books I've gotten rid of. I'm probably going to go and look at those again sometime soon and get rid of more. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you're so much about saving the planet and blah, 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 blah. But you don't have, or you have, not don't have, but you have tons of books, tons of paper. You know, that paper was because they destroyed an old growth forest. I do understand that, but the thing is, the difference between how many books I have and how many trees it might have taken to create these books is a fraction of the wood necessary to make these books compared to forests in South America, let alone North America and Europe, that have been where they were for eons before mankind came along and went, oh, we need this space for apartment complexes, or we need this space for businesses, and tore down miles worth of trees. Not just one or two trees for the wood, for the paper, or not half a dozen trees for firewood, or maybe, maybe a acre worth of trees for a new home. No, they tore up miles. And the thing is, and we're just discovering this now, a lot of those old world forests that have been torn down had important elements within them for medicines to heal. Oops! You tore down a tree, and how many lives were lost because those trees were torn down just for your Walmart. And I don't have anything against Walmart. That's just the first name that popped in my head. But anyhow, food for thought. I hope tomorrow will be another good day like it was today, and I can sit down and read more of the Viking handbook. I'm really liking this series, but the last couple of days have been a little either chaotic or just feeling, de-energized and couldn't get my thoughts straight. But I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. I'm gonna shut down and go sit with my wife. Probably read something or whatnot during the storm, because if we lose power, one, I won't be able to cook, and we'll have to figure out something for dinner. And two, I'd rather be closer to the safe room just in case something happens. And cross my fingers that nothing happens. Just thunder and wind and all that fun stuff. So, if you enjoyed this vlog, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about what I've been talking about or reading, go ahead and put it in your comment into the comment box. I will enjoy looking at them. I actually kind of want questions. I know I had a couple people who were asking some great questions about what I've been reading, and I would love to see that kind of thing happening, because I love doing Q&A day, which I haven't done in a long time. Just the only thing I ask you not to ask questions about is what's going on with Jerry, because one, that's more her stuff than my stuff, and I would rather you guys ask her, because when you ask me and I say what I have to say and tell you what I heard or how I felt or what I'm hearing, it causes people to question the truth that she speaks about herself. I can only talk about myself and my truth because that's my stuff. Just like sometimes Jerry gets a couple questions that should be for me and it should be brung over here. I don't know why people are afraid to ask me about me or Jerry about Jerry, because it's become one of these annoying things. But yeah, if you have questions or comments about me and my materials, please go ahead, ask. I know there's a bunch of newbies on here, and you want to ask me about my past, that's fine. You want to ask me about some of the things I did as a kid growing up in the military while we were in Germany, or the 2 times I was up in Yellowstone National Park and some of the things that I had to deal with, or adventures up there, or what I'm reading now. Yes, I know I've had a lot of people who've been on my channel for a while ask me when I'm going to start doing cooking videos again. I don't know when. I'll be honest with you. I don't know when, because lately most of my cooking has been quick, fast foods. Not ordering fast food, but quick, fast foods that I can make here in the house that I've made 1,000 times over, and I don't know how many people have watched them or seen them. So I can't tell you when I'm going to be able to do that. And with going back to work at S&T coming quickly, I don't know when I'm gonna get a chance to do that. I'm actually hoping that Jerry, when she starts feeling better and starts coming out to cook more, she can do the cooking videos, and you guys can go to her channel for that. But again, I don't know when or if that's gonna happen. Yeah, if you're not a member of my channel, you're not a subscriber, it's your choice, really. I don't force anybody to subscribe. But if you're not a subscriber and you're interested in the Nordic way of life or a lot of the history of the Nordic people, even though a lot of these books are entitled Viking, which is not the people, it's an occupation. But if you want to hear more about it, or other subjects, I do Bible stuff, because I am a Christian, even though I do talk about the religion of the Nordic people before Christianity came about, which is paganism. I do not practice it. I just read it because it's a combination of intrigue, and it's part of my part of my history, because I am, even though I'm only about according to my DNA information from Ancestry.com, I've got more Scots Irish and German than I do Nordic. If I were to, let me see if I can remember, rattle it off to you. Scots, Irish, British, German, Norwegian, Danish, and Swedish. I have no Finnish, and I have no Icelandic in me. But the 5 nations that I know about that are from the Norse people are Iceland, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. So I've read a lot of histories on the basically Scots Irish really intrigued me. British, you know, I know enough about the history before the 13th century. But because I have a lot of Germanic in me, which is German. My grandfather from my mom's side of the family was from Germany. I'm not 100% sure if there's any German from my dad's side of the family. I know because I took mom's side of the family and pushed it to the side. So I know my dad's side of the family is mostly Norse. Scots, Irish, and Norse. So, yeah, even though somebody in the family at one point in time thought we were had like Czechoslovakian and Polish, and according to my DNA scan, there's not enough of that to register. So that might be a cousin, because my cousin's mother is descended from Polish people, but I'm not. But anyhow, so if you're interested in all those things, anything that has to do with nature, Yellowstone National Park, history, various histories from Northern Europe, my take on various Bible subjects. I know a lot of people say, well, you can't really make up your own decision about the Bible. No, it's not a decision. It's the way I feel the Bible speaks to me when I talk about the Bible. Yes, I do say things that might sound contrary to the belief of me being Christian, but that's only because it's a point of view of history, not about the Bible. But anyhow, I'm sorry. I let me start my exit all over. Now that I've said all that, and that bottle of Mountain Dew was supposed to be for tomorrow, but I got a little thirsty. Yeah. So if you liked this whole video, sorry, it's going to be another long one. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you don't, I'm sorry. I really am. If you decide to hit that thumbs down, well, that's your choice. We all have the choices. whatever you want to say in the comment box. Questions about the things I just talked about. Ask me about Yellowstone. Ask me about, you know, what parts of Germany I was in and what I know about Germany. There are a number of my regular viewers who will tell you in the comment boxes, you know, what they've heard already. That, in fact, if you become negative or rude, I am pretty sure there's at least 2, 3, maybe 4 or more of my regulars that might jump on you. Don't take that as us trying to be rude. Take it as they're trying to correct your mistake, or your thinking that you know, whatever. We don't accept rudeness. We do not accept name calling. We do not accept anybody who's going to be belligerent. And a lot of times I will see everybody's comments and make a decision on what I'm going to do. A lot of times I myself might jump in there and correct you, or correct what you think you know. But I will look at your videos. I mean, don't be deterred from putting a comment. In fact, you know what? I would love to hear questions. If you have questions, slap them in there. Slap your questions in there. I will try to answer them to the best of my ability, or I will write them down in my notebook and answer them on a Q&A day, which I haven't had in a while. The other thing is, any questions about, if you viewed my wife's channel, any questions about her need to go to her, not me. If she hasn't answered you, there's a rhyme or reason for it, and I'm not going to question her decisions on her channel, because it's her channel, her life. Yes, it is our life, but when it comes to questions that should be directly placed towards Jerry, then I'm just gonna ignore you or tell you to go ask her. Last thing, if you're interested in the things I've been telling you that I sometimes talk about, right now I'm mostly focused on the Nordic people. Sundays, if I feel up to or remember, I will do a Bible session. I'm trying not to make these videos long, but I've just got so much on me right now that I'm trying to get off me or out of me. So forgive me for the length of this video. I probably am going to try to cut them a little bit less long and just focus on one thing. But sometimes my brain just kind of goes, yeah. But if you're interested and you want to hear more, go ahead and click the subscribe button, your choice. Once you do that, a little bell will pop up. You click on that bell and YouTube lets you know when I put in my next video. So until next time, you guys have a good day. Enjoy. Bye.